Hey everybody, welcome back. It's a gorgeous day out here in North Carolina, but it's too cold for me to have any of my reptiles out with me, which is unfortunate. But I need to get straight to the point here anyway. What we're talking about today is what we need to do as reptile keepers to prevent reptile bans and what our responsibilities are when we own these animals. So I'm going to dispense with all of the fancy intros and we're going to get right to the point. You'll have to excuse, hopefully the mic deals with the wind well enough for us. But the point is that with every right comes a responsibility. And it's something that we really need to remember as reptile keepers. As we've seen down in Florida, it is possible for our rights to be taken away. There's a lot of people that were put out of business. There's a lot of people that had to surrender animals that they really loved. And if you're anything like me, and your animals are as close to your heart as they are to mine, it would kill me to have to surrender all of my animals. So it's very important that all of us pay attention to what our responsibilities are as far as keeping these animals, and stay on point and stay attentive to county commissions and state legislators and Fish and Wildlife and all these organizations. Pay attention to what's going on and help in whatever way that we can. And helping begins first with carrying our own weight as individual keepers. That includes watching what you post on social media, not dramatizing, making your animals look violent, dramatizing the bite videos and things like that, making it look like you're wrestling some dangerous killer man-eater is all just bad press for us. It's bad press for everybody, and it does nothing but give those people that don't want to see our animals in our hands ammunition when they walk into a courtroom or a commission meeting. Gives them ammo to hurt our hobby and our professions. So I think that's probably first and foremost. We need to do our best, as keepers of these animals, to present them to the public in the best possible light. That doesn't mean sugarcoat everything. It doesn't mean that we ignore what risks are there, but we need to be very balanced and very cautious about how we go about presenting those things. It's going to get you extra likes on your social media. It's going to get you extra views on your YouTube, putting out all this dramatic stuff and having these snakes attacking you and things like that. But ultimately, it's bad for the hobby all the way across the board. And I think it's something that we really need to avoid. The next thing, and this is something that a lot of people may not really talk about, is that you have to pay attention to whatever the reptile laws are where you live. You don't change laws by breaking them. If you're in an area where they've got really strict ownership laws, and they're constantly handing out fines to people that break them and things like that, if they're really big on enforcement, they start generating money off of those fines. They're going to be much less open to changing the laws, because we all know laws aren't made around right and wrong. They're made around what generates the most profit. And as sad as that is, and as idealistic as I would like to sound, that has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of lobbyists out there, and there's a lot of organizations that are pumping money into the state legislatures to have the laws made the way they want them, and not necessarily in the way that's fair to everybody. So that's another point to keep in mind. Know what your laws are in your area, and make sure that you're abiding by them. We need to be making sure that our enclosures for our large constrictors and venomous reptiles and so forth, make sure that they're well maintained, make sure that they've got locks on them, make sure that you've got anything that would be venomous or a large constrictor not only locked in their enclosure but locked into a separate room, so that if you do have an incident where one of them gets out of the enclosure, it's confined to that room. You can go in, collect it, put it back, and you don't have it slipping through the house and then sliding out the door on you and getting away. I don't need to tell the folks in Raleigh, North Carolina out here anything about that, because they've just dealt with the kid that let the cobra get out, and the shitstorm that proceeded to follow after all of that happened. And they're still in the process of getting all that ironed out now, and we're not sure what the outcome is going to be. So another big point: follow the laws, make sure that you're securing your animals properly, and one thing that you'll see too, especially if you watch these meetings where folks are discussing whether we should have the right to have them or not, a lot of the people making the decisions aren't very educated about the animals. They're not really educated about snakes and large lizards and things like that. They're going off of the sensationalized stuff that they see. You know, the things that are popular, the stuff that people are putting out there, that's what they see. And a lot of them don't even take the time to educate themselves on it. So one thing that we can do as well as keepers is to, you know, you don't have to be that guy that every time you walk into a room, everybody goes, oh man, let's get out of here. This guy's just going to talk about snakes again. But, you know, it doesn't hurt in the course of conversation to bring them up, talk about them, and just make people aware. You know, you don't have to bend their ear. All you got to do is, you know, make a concerted effort to make people aware that, yeah, there are this small percentage of the population that keeps giant snakes, keep big lizards, we keep things that everybody's afraid of and they're dangerous, and just kind of let that information drip out there that, yeah, there's people that have these animals and they're safe and they don't hurt us. And, you know, there are people out here where, you know, our reptiles mean as much to us as their dog does to them. You know, that has a lot to do with it too, because these are the people that are going to be, you know, sitting in some of these meetings and, you know, helping to make decisions and laws based on the animals that we keep. So making a concerted effort to present our people and to present our animals to people in a positive light, and to kind of help educate the general public as much as we can without becoming a nuisance. You know, we need to be making an effort to do that. And organizations like USARK, U.S. Association of Reptile Keepers, out here in North Carolina, we've got NCARK. All of us need to do what we can to contribute to these organizations, because there's been certain states that they've had meetings where they've been deciding the fate of reptile keepers, and the only people sitting at the table was the USARK people. Of the thousands of reptile keepers in that state, the only people that were getting involved were the people from USARK. And that's just not an acceptable situation. You know, we've got to stick together. We've got to stick together as a community of keepers, so that when things like this happen, we've got 10, 20, 50, 100 people sitting down there at the State House. If for no other reason than to let these people know that they're not operating in a vacuum, and there are people on the other side of the discussion. And we need to use that visual to back up the men in the suit and the ties from USARK that go down here and sit at the table with these guys and do the actual battling for us. You know, you can get on their websites. I'm going to link USARK and NCARK down here in the description. You know, you can get in there, you can contribute money to them, and if you can't do that, then you can keep an eye on the press and the news and what's going on with you know, different meetings and so forth, generating letters to your representatives, generating letters to the, you know, letters and emails and so forth to the commissioners that are working on these issues, and just making an appearance and speaking up. That does make a difference. I was watching something not too long ago where merely the fact that there was a couple hundred reptile keepers outside of the courthouse or wherever it was that they was having this particular meeting at. I don't remember specific details, but I remember that showing alone made them drop the legislation that they was proposing, because they knew it was BS, and they was just hoping that they could slide it by unnoticed. And it didn't work because people were just there. So that's the other thing we can do, is support the organizations that are fighting for us. Like I said, USARK, NCARK, the ones that are in your state, they can't do it themselves. You know, we've all got to kind of band together and make sure that we're doing everything that we can to have as solid of a foundation, as big of a base as we can, to help secure our right to keep these animals. If the reptile community as a whole is doing the right thing and we're policing our own, then that gives us such a firmer foundation to stand on when we go back into these states like Florida and South Carolina and New York, and we approach the lawmakers to get these laws changed, to get the rights of everybody there that's lost them back. So it's really, really important that everybody nationwide pay attention to these things. Pay attention to how you're taking care of your animals. So all that being said, since I'm not in a position to donate thousands of dollars to USARK and NCARK and so forth, one thing that I do have at my disposal is a growing YouTube channel. So I'm going to put out what I can when I can, regarding things that are coming up, things that we need to be paying attention to, and just trying to get the word out there. I hope this video gets out to every reptile keeper anywhere, because it's all basic stuff that we all need to know, and it's just what we need to do as a community to make sure that we're protecting our rights to keep the animals that we cherish. Now, I know I do have a large percentage of my viewership that's over in India and Indonesia and Asia and so forth, and I'm not familiar with the laws over there at all. I would be curious to know what you guys deal with, and if you want to jump down in the comments and you know, tell us some of the issues that you have over there overseas, it would be really interesting to know. And you know, it may actually, you know, help some of the folks over here, or maybe some of the stuff that we do help you guys over there, and you know, in protecting our rights to keep these animals. I gotta admit, I'm a little jealous of, you know, the folks over in overseas that have got reticulated pythons running around in their backyard. That would be a kind of nice thing to have, but I'd like to hear from you guys as well. So I wanted to keep this a short video. I don't really want to bend everybody's ear too much, but this is really important. It needs to go out there, and it's something that all of us need to know. So by all means, pass this around to everybody. Get down in the comments. Let's discuss things that you guys have found that have worked, you know, particular issues that you guys have got going on in your own states, and we all cumulatively work together, and let's protect our hobby, let's protect our professions, let's make sure that no more reptile keepers end up going out of business because of unjust laws, unreasonable laws, and let's make sure that we can keep this going for our kids. So I hope you guys have an outstanding day. Like I said, get this video out, get it around, and I will see you guys next time around on Intrepid Exotics.